I think when the COVID started, Sri Lanka was doing very bad. And before that, also Sri Lanka had taken a lot of loans for high interest rates. So we didn't have any money because we had almost exhausted. So we had time for about 2 years without paying any loans. So that money was saved.
We are warm welcomes to you to our country. So, as you know, I was the leading journalist from Sri Lanka, right? So, I wish to take some words from you about your Sri Lanka, what exactly going on at the ground reality in Sri Lanka.
Yes. So I think when the COVID started, Sri Lanka was doing very bad. And before that, also Sri Lanka had taken a lot of loans for high interest rates. So that and the COVID without any inward remittances coming from tourism or foreign remittances, we were having a lot of issues. During that time, the drought also came. So because of the drought, we had to forego all our hydropower, which was very cheap, and look at thermal power, where we had to buy oil. So for that, we didn't have any money because we had almost exhausted. So that's how I think the crisis started. So after that, there were a lot of Aragalaya, there were a lot of issues because there were a lot of queues and people were waiting without medicines and a lot of issues. So after that, they had to change the present former government president, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and subsequently the Prime Minister and the present Prime Minister, that is Ranil Wickremesinghe, was first elected Prime Minister, and then after a parliamentary vote, which was legal, he was appointed as the President of Sri Lanka. So after he was appointed, he had a lot of work to do. So he started by first calling that Sri Lanka is calling for bankruptcy. With that bankruptcy that started last year's April, we had the breathing space where we didn't have to pay the loans. So we had time for about 2 years without paying any loans. So that money was saved. Then from there onwards, we started rebuilding. Then started tourism coming back and foreign remittances coming back. And slowly but surely we progressed. But still, we are not out of the woods. Then after the IMF endorsed our program, the world realized and recognized Sri Lanka that it is serious in doing something good. Because you must also remember that 15 times or 16 times we have gone to IMF and given so many promises and not filled. So the world didn't have a good record for Sri Lanka. But this time around, we have turned it around and we are doing a lot of things, a lot of reforms. And today, Sri Lanka, which had an inflation rate of 70% 1 year ago, has, I think, done a remarkable change around and has reduced the inflation to not 7%, 6.2%.
Very nice.
Over the years where we had, over the years we had less than 1 billion foreign exchange in our country. That is foreign reserves actually. Now, today, after 1 year, we have almost 3.8 billion. We had about 3,000, 4,000 arrivals for the last 1 year or 2 years. But now it has gone up to 800,000 and already halfway through, we have already beaten last year's arrivals. So for this, we have to also thank India for a great deal. Because while we were struggling, calling in China, calling the IMF, India, without any second thoughts, just came forward and gave us 2.5 billion rupees. And all grateful to the country because it has proved that India is a true leader. But still, I'm sad to say that some of the section of the media still think that there's a big conflict in Sri Lanka, that we don't have food, we don't have transport, which are all not right. Sri Lanka is very much back to normal. Sri Lanka is very much back in business. And today, India is the number one arrival destination for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you. That's one
Anything
thing.
else?
Yeah, I wish to ask you
Yeah.
two questions. One is, do you think that it's a COVID is the only reason for the setback of your economy or any other reasons?
No, COVID played the role for about 30%. We had an issue when we banned the fertilizer imports just to save around 500 million US dollars. And there were a lot of loans that we had taken for very high interest rates. So those all accumulated. That's how. Not only COVID, this problem was coming, but it could have been managed better. But the former management didn't think it that seriously. COVID was about 30 to 35% responsible.
As a journalist, can you say one thing?
Any other issue?
Yeah. So what about your political balance? There is no balance in the political view in Sri Lanka. Is it any making any impact on the investments to comes to Sri Lanka? Do you think like that? As a journalist, you can say.
You mean now? Now or
Yeah.
those days?
Yeah, those days. You can say now and those days. Yeah.
Now, is it you? Now, of course, those days, I think it is fair to say that we had a soft corner for China, where if there were two projects or two proposals coming from two separate countries, China gets the edge because you can't blame at that time because China also had given a lot of loans. They had done a lot of infrastructure projects like the Hambantota Harbour and so many projects. So they did have a edge. But now I think we can say that Sri Lanka is actually a non-aligned country. We have very good relations with Europe, EU, America, India, as well as China. So we have a balanced thing. And if you take India, I think India is also having a lot of interest in Sri Lanka, not with any ulterior motives, but definitely to help the Sri Lanka. If you take yesterday, on Wednesday, there was an investment forum in Sri Lanka, and the CCI person from here also said that Sri Lanka and India can have a lot of projects as the airline connectivity has increased. There are flights even happening in the history. First time to Jaffna Airport, which is a regional airport. There are passenger ferry services, luxury starting from Chennai to Hambantota, which is also first in both things. And for the first time, there's a national electricity connectivity also trying to happen.
Okay. So my final question, that our country is safer for our investors from India or anywhere in world?
Yes.
It's the safest place for economy-wise, infrastructure, and the political balance,
Yes.
everything. Do you think that like that? What is your opinion?
Yes. Yes, we can safely say that it is capital yes, because we have a new BOI chairman who is very friendly and who is very active. And he is also in charge of the Colombo Port City Commission. And their investment laws have been changed, labor laws are changing, a lot of positive sentiments are happening. And the favorations which were there some time ago has completely disappeared. So if you are a good investor, you will have a level playing field when you invest in Sri Lanka. But one area I was surprised. India is investing in many areas. Okay. In the Trincomalee oil farm, in Jaffna, but they are yet to look at the Colombo port city. I think I must, as a very senior journalist and a business editor, say that Colombo port city is not owned by China. Oh. Colombo port city is not only for China. It can have for a lot of people. Already a Singaporean company has come and started doing the Colombo duty-free shops at the port city. So I must tell India, please look at Colombo port city as well. Okay, it's a very nice information from you to our investors, Indian investors. It is very thankful to you, and it was very pleasure to meet you at this evening. Good evening, and all the best for your country to grow up very soon. All the best for better relations and more Indian arrivals as well. Yes, as a brother country, we will do a lot of things. Thank you very much. Right. Okay.
much.